Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Stephanie Stevens Show. Today on the show, I have an incredible person on today. Her name is Miss Mimi Zion Long from New York City. I think she was raised in Alabama.
Correct.
Okay. Now, the reason I asked her on my show today is because I felt she had a tremendous voice in the world of the LGBT two-spirit pronoun community. Now, another thing I decided that I really liked her show. She does a nightly confession show where she educates the children on how to behave, how to interact with other people, and how they interact with her. And she's going to give you some of the pros and cons of how people sometimes interact with trans women. So welcome today to my show, Miss Mimi Zion Long. How are you, girl?
Girl, I am wonderful. I am so blessed. I'm full, girl. When I say that I am full, and it's such an honor. So thank you for having me on your show.
You are welcome, girl. Now, I know you're originally from Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a Confederate state.
Yes. Yes, girl.
So I understood a lot of the anger in your nightly confessions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you identify, just so our audience knows?
I am female.
Okay.
Trans female.
Okay.
Let me break that down. I go and take it a little deep further. I'm a natural trans female. I'm taking every now and then because I'm still not taking my hormones like that. But everything from my cheekbones to my tata, honey, all are natural from God. So I guess God was like, I'm going to use you in the end time to show them, honey, that God can do it any kind of way he wants to. Because God, our father, our mother, was a woman himself. There was a side of him. There was I feel, and I can just only picture it, was a black drag queen. Getting things together, honey. Cooking dinner and chastising at the same time. Because if you understand a black woman, honey, can get the job done. Any way she need to get it done, she get it done. Mm-hmm. So yes, I am a female trans.
Okay, now you know, I'm glad you said that because in one of my earlier conversations with one of the girls, I think she went on defense of certain people, sort of like myself, who are up and down and all around, who identify in the wide spectrum. But more I identify with the entertainer, just the actor, the entertainer in me. And part of me is trans, but that's not what I focus on. So I try not to, I'm not here to fool my audience. And I heard one of the performers explain to one of the other girls who felt she was more trans than who am I to be talking to her? And the girl that was like her said to her, a lot of people identify differently under the trans, and they look different. We all can't look the same. Some people have in their minds, this is the way they look, and they feel that they're trans, and they haven't done anything. And I appreciated the fact that she actually said that. And I think she said it in defense of me, but I heard her say it in conversation. So I think it had something to do with me because the entertainer that was talking to me had a very positive show. And I had asked the other person to do the show, but she turned me down because she said that we're just doing too much talking. And she doesn't realize if we don't communicate and we don't talk, we don't get anything done.
Message.
So I'm kind of glad that in the long run that she didn't do the show. Her friend did the show and we got what we needed. And we're blessed the fact that we're helping our brothers and sisters around the world to understand who they are and who they want to be, and you want to just give them an outlet to say somebody cares.
That's
Somebody
it.
cares.
That's
Somebody
it.
cares about you. We
Mm-hmm.
know you love God. We know you love your family. But a lot of us, and mainly in the trans community, are isolated from our families or distant from our families. So now I want to talk about you in Alabama. Now, do you talk to your family?
Um, Only family that I talk to, and that's still shaky at times. Um, just to give you a backstory with my mother. The reason why I'm in this body, um, I tell them a lot. I didn't ask to be in this body. My mother, she told me, confessed to me a couple years ago that she literally prayed over her womb that if she ever had a son that was gay, or at that time in the 90s they call it sissy, she would kill it. Well, guess what, honey? Be careful what you ask for.
Mm-hmm.
I was exactly what she asked for. And what happened all my life? I had to literally run. The reason why I'm thinking that I'm running for my life, but it was destined for me to be here in New York City. I have experienced shame, pain, hurt, and defeat, not from just the police, not just from my family, not just from other straight people, but also from my community. And as I grew on into getting to love the creator who's inside of me, I discovered that, girl, the person that we is fighting is not me fighting you, girl. It's the enemy inside of me, which is the enemy might that be inside of you, who both want us dead, girl. He both want us to be destroyed. So if I can get you jealous at me, and I can be jealous at you, then we can never come together. And then we are defeated because there's unity when we connect. So I
That's
don't
so
have family.
that's so true. I've been saying this for years, and it's not a racist thing. It's just something that's real. If
Mm-hmm.
Black people would stop fighting each other, doing all these crazy things and making excuses for the fact of these crazy things, and they do them thinking, okay, you better not snitch, you better not talk because you know you're Black and this and this and this. It's like at the end of the day, do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you look at us, we when we work together, we are something else.
Yes.
When we work together, we are something else. There's no stopping us. But
Yes.
these girls don't have a clue, and they say, well, you know, I'm this and I'm that and I'm this. At the end of the day, we're all fighting for the same thing. We all want love, understanding, people to care about us, people to take care of us, we to take care of others. We're here to serve each other.
Each
And that's
other.
life. That's what life is about. Service, not about you just sitting and having everything and sitting in your house and the other people are out on the road struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Now, another thing I like, the fact that you come from Alabama. Now, was there a gay trans culture there?
Yes. Alabama, Birmingham, I mean, they very strong in that community. A lot of growth has come. That's really never been the problem. The problem that they have, which everybody, is whenever you get a community, whatever community or tribe you from, that tribe, that community is against the next community.
Mm-hmm.
But honey, we both partying in the same club. We both here. Girl, I'm painting my face right next beside you, honey. Why are you mad? Why are you, honey? I got thrown out of the club, of the Quest Club, and I'm sure it's owned by white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
But not once, but twice. And I'm like, why? Because the color of my skin? So it's so much division, but I discovered even when I came to New York City, it's here too.
Well, you know, New York I look at New York as a much different place for me. I mean, I look at it as shopping and fashion and just being, you know, having a good time. Yeah, but you live there, so you can see what actually goes on in the dark and in the light, and your surroundings. Racism is alive and well in America, and it's alive and well in Canada too. Don't think it's not here. It's just right here, facing me every day. Now, another thing, I just want to focus a little bit on Alabama for just a minute.
Okay.
And, now, now I know you say your mother didn't want you. Where's your father?
My father is deceased.
Okay.
I was 15, I believe, and he came into my life, and for 4 months, we did have a discussion because I have a gift of prophecy, and so I knew that he was going to die, but when I had the dream, I told myself that I was going to spit in his casket because he wasn't in my life and all that stuff. But God made it where I heard from my father the acceptance that he had for me, and he went home to be with the Lord. So yeah, okay. My father's.
Yeah. Okay, I don't want to take you too deep in that because I don't like to dig into too personal. I just want I want to connect the dots. This is why I'm focusing on Alabama right now. Now, did you start transitioning in Alabama?
No. Well, I started a process of accepting who I am and accepting what the Father, God. Every time when you hear me say the Father or Daddy, that's not my biological, but that's what I call God. Some people call him God. He's been my father. This has been a lonely work. I'm getting ready to compile some stories and put in a book, because for the last 3 years, I went on a journey in Birmingham, Alabama, where and I'm glad that God put me on a journey, because my work here in New York City, there's a movement going on around the world, and I'm gonna shift just a little bit if I can, but God gave me an understanding of the LGBTQFZ community. The Bible talks about be careful how you treat a stranger, because you can be entertaining an angel. That's the reason why we are so talented. That's why we can create things, because we have seen into the spiritual world. Some of the youth don't understand or don't know what's going on. But I didn't understand. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know why I was being attacked. I didn't know why I was seeing two faces. One time, one person is this way, and the next time they're a whole nother person. I didn't understand that. But then God said, you were sent here, son, daughter, for a time as this, to go into darkness and show light. So, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, a couple of things I want to ask. So, yes, were your mother and father married when he died?
No.
They were never married. You never had a family structure with the father and the mother in the home?
No, my family, my childhood was very toxic. My mother was very religious, and at the same time addicted to painkillers. I used to watch my brother. I have one brother on my mother's side. I used to watch my brother, get into fights with my mother, like literally fights. One time I came home and my mother had shot my brother. Yeah. But that's another story for another topic, because my mom, her mindset she was very dominant. She was, you know, she tried her best, even though I was already a woman, but she tried her best to bring me down as a little weakling. You know what I'm saying? Someone that she can control. And the reason why my father, I believe, and her wasn't together, because she used to try to control him. I remember there was a time I came home and she pulled a gun out on my father and took his check. So yeah, my
men don't like to be dominated.
Yeah,
men don't like to be dominated in any sense. Once a woman crosses that line with a man, the relationship is usually over, and it doesn't matter. I try to say that with truth, and because we know that it is. Men never like to feel like they are the submissive one in the role. They're not having that kind of thing. And when a woman sort of becomes dominant over a man, the relationship is finished. Now, you say you have one brother?
I do.
Okay, so it's just you and your brother.
On my mom's side, my dad's side, I have a sister. I mean, two sisters that I know of and a brother. But my daddy was a Rolling Stone, so I was told that I got many brothers and sisters that I have not met.
Okay, so do you get along with the brother that was shot?
We do not talk.
Okay,
but now, I still love him. Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you lived in New York City?
We came right at the beginning of the pandemic. So I've only been in New York City now going on probably 9 months now.
Okay, now I know being trans women, sometimes we have doctors and psychiatrists and therapists that we need to see. Now you're leaving Alabama from a support system, I would think. You had some sort of a support system. No support system? How did you make a living?
How did I make a living? Through the grace of God and working for myself, and God sending me my husband.
Okay. Now, when you went to New York City as a trans woman, now have you ever seeked out a doctor or a therapist or people from the different programs? Because I'm sure they have lots of programs for the trans community in New York City.
Oh, yes, of course. I'm part of, I have a whole team of people that's surrounding me, medical doctors and psychiatrists. Yeah, I have that now here. I have a whole team here, support system here. I did not have that in Birmingham, no.
Okay, I understand. Now, you know, I'm from Florida. I was born in Orlando. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale and Miami, and I moved to Toronto. This is my 32nd year living here. And you know, I just turned 60 years old. So I think I'm doing okay. But I find now that our community has deteriorated in a real sad way, that everything we built, we fought for, and how connected the trans community was to whether they were connected to the pageants or they were connected to the trans march or to the trans events, anything to do with trans. Like you said, there was a real movement at one time. Now, where do you fit in that movement? Where's your voice in that movement?
I'm just a voice in the wilderness, preparing the way for what's to come next.
Okay.
I'm a deliverer. I'm a healer. My thing, like I spoke to, we had a trans march here in New York City just a couple of days ago, and I spoke to my people, and I said, how long will we keep marching? Don't get me wrong, I am agreeing with the march, but now they're be marching about stuff like where I thought was my son, but that's another story for another day. But he was one of the people that was leading the movement, and he's made some statement that we don't have funding for HIV or housing, and this is stuff that they keep on talking about. That's a lie. New York City, Alabama got some learning and some work to learn from New York City, honey. You can get your work done here. if you're on a Medicaid or a Medicare, honey, because not only that, I am HIV positive. So, you know, my illness was supposed to cause me shame and pain is the very thing that's causing me to have a place to stay rent-free, a place to stay, a program where I can go and get, if I want to get extra boobies and get surgery done. I have that access, you know what I'm saying? That's not everywhere. So I really think that our community, especially for those that of age, we need to teach. And then those that are younger, they got to humble themselves down and listen. They don't want to listen to us. And all this stuff that happened, and don't get me wrong, some stuff the cops did, some lives got taken. And I get, you know, people talk about me or get mad at me when I say this, because I get their pain, I get that they're angry. But the truth of the matter is, you can't resist arrest. There's a right way to do things. And we can't, just because we want people to love us and accept us, we cannot be disrespectful and show them ignorance, craziness, and expect for us to get respected. It don't work that way. So,
well, you know, you're smart by saying that. You know, I tried, and you know, a lot of people ask me about why do I speak up and why do I speak for our community? In a sense, it's because I've always done this. I come from this. This is what's in me. Nobody taught me how to do drag. Nobody taught me how to do shows. I never had a drag mother. I never had nobody to teach me how to do business. I know my father did business, so I was able to make a little headway with that. But the girls here kept knocking me down with that, but I kept getting up. And now today I'm doing much better just on my own. God has blessed me. I'm on my second book now. You say you wrote a book, you're writing a book.
I'm in the process. So you can help me because I'm in the process. So you can help me because
I'm on my second one now. And I now see that, you know, sometimes the trans community can be its own worst enemy. And a lot of the times the girls just do each other wrong because they want that extra show fee, or they want the extra show, or they want people to like them and stuff. Listen, the best performers in the world and the best people that are driven in the world are the people that are usually the people that are the most difficult to deal with. Because they're the ones.
I'm going to give you a fun fact. So before I start doing makeup on myself, well, of course, in the process of me doing my ministry, I'll run away from home and do shows or whatnot. I would, you know, put on my mom or grandmother old fried up wig, honey, and sneak out the house and run away and get to the club to get to the stage, honey, because I just wanted to perform. I just felt that. Well, since I couldn't really be myself in church, the next outlet, and which is a lot of outlet for a lot of mimers, they would paint their face, honey, and worship God. I was the most professional and the baddest. I'm not being cocky or conceited in Alabama, but I was the baddest and the most professional and anointed mimer in Birmingham as a guy. But then when I figured it out, there was a greater platform that he had for me, but I allowed the opinions of others, the pastors. I'm good enough to give you your water. I'm good enough to sing in your choir. I'm even good enough to dance on your stage. But because you're not understanding or you don't have no knowledge, you abuse the very gift and the vessel that God sent to you. We are gifts. Me and you, my sister, we are gifts that God gave. Everything that's inside of us. I don't get it. How can you say we unable? That's not God. When we start operating in who we are, that come natural. Didn't nobody teach me how to paint my makeup. This right here, I couldn't have because of jealousy, I couldn't have a mother to be, I don't have a mother now to take me through this process as I go through the hormones and what's to come next. I just research, I pray, and it just come natural. So,
Now, Another thing is I really like the fact that you're honest about all of this. And I'm that way, but sometimes when you're in the media, you have to tiptoe around a little bit. I try not to, but let's go back to the church. Now, everything is always good with the church when you're contributing, when you're donating, when you're mowing the yards, when you're making the food after the congregation. You're singing in the choir.
Decoration for the appreciation.
You're doing all these things, and at the end of the day, they chastise you because they feel like marriage or the sanctimony of marriage should be kept in place because that's what they come from. And when you look at the example of the American churches, look how oppressed Black people have been for decades. If it wasn't for just the faith in God, they would not have the little bit that even they have today. Now, you being a trans woman, how do you feel about Black people? I hate to say, I'll just say our people. They treat us and interact with us. Even in the face of God, there's still that negativity and that burn. That burn of, you can see it in the face, they don't like you. And whether you're working so hard for the church, they're working harder to change you. The reason I'm so glad we're talking about the church thing, because I grew up in the church and my parents lived at the church 24 hours a day. If you know what I mean. Monday, Wednesday, Saturdays, and Sundays, all day, every day. Now, you, as a trans woman, what do you think needs to happen now with the trans community? Because the girls ain't got no work. We know they ain't got no work, and we know the first thing they usually turn to. And there's nothing wrong with, I've always said this here. I always thought they should decriminalize prostitution, not because it's just women have been doing that forever and making money. I think when you decriminalize something and you help the people that are in a marginalized situation, you'll come out a lot better than putting them in prison. Now, I want to ask you, you said that a lot of bad things happen. Have you ever been to jail?
I have.
Oh. As a trans woman? Or as you? You say because it's natural. So I won't identify you as a trans. I'll just say as yourself. Have you been there?
I have. Yeah, so, just last year.
Okay. How did all that? I don't want to know why it happened. I just want to know, how did you cope with being in there? Because sometimes trans women can be very difficult.
Yeah. Like I said, when you are ready, if you want to bring me back on, because I got to be kind of, cautious how I tread, because my story, or when I tell it in its full capacity, it would seem like something very fictional or something very like I'm a crazy person. Okay. But I will say this much. For me, it was very traumatizing because I was not so much fighting with different guys that was inside of the jail. Because matter of fact, when they had put me in the block girl, I had my nails still on, right? And at this point in time, I wasn't like, I still had some facial hair on there. I was like in the early stage of becoming that woman. And I went into jail and I heard them talking about this, and I set it off. I said, well, all y'all niggas can come and get it. And if y'all come up these stairs, y'all come and get it. And moved me out, honey. They moved me out and put me on a personal cell. But I've been to jail a lot, and I've seen a lot inside of the jail system. But when it comes down, you said something about the sex workers. I've done that too when I didn't have no food. I get it. Now, some of these girls do it because they just love to do it. They love the attention. They love the money. But there's some other girls that they don't have no choice but to. I got to get this money, honey, so I can get this bus ticket, so I can go to New York City, honey, to get this job done because I need to be myself. Or then there's others that have been kicked out by their parents and they don't have no food to eat. I get it. That's why women like us that God has are getting ready to establish, we should take it upon ourselves to build funding for our community and do classes and teach our young sisters how to be lady. That's the thing. It's okay to be a trans. It's okay to do your Beyonce number and shake it and buck, honey, even do your whatever. That's good. But at the end of the day, if you want respect, honey, you got to look like respect. You got to act like respect. You know what I'm saying? You can't open your leg up to everybody. And you got to be careful because you got those guys that love to look at you, love to embrace you, love to have sex, love for you to suck their nana, honey. And at the end of the day, honey, when they get through and they come to reality, they want to take your life. Because now they're looking at them. And they're afraid to be them. So now I'll kill you. Yeah.
You know, I'm glad you said all that I was expecting, and I'm grateful for that because it just made sense. And you know, I was gonna tap a little bit onto the trans murders. Now, because for me, I was talking to Desiree de Mornay. I don't know if you know her, but I was talking to her, and she explained to me, because I kept asking her, why are these girls keep getting murdered? The trans women, and mainly the Black ones. Mainly the Black ones. And I understand that, you know, I'm from the States. I understand that I've seen the girls when they're in their highest form and when they're in their lowest form. And I know sometimes they do desperate things. But for me, it doesn't make any sense, meaning for a man to come into your home, take your life just because you had sex with him.
It's not right.
I don't understand that because it doesn't make any sense. Now, I try to ask, why is it that the girls don't fight back? Why is it that they trust these boys, you know, that they know? Because we all know, our gut instinct always tells us if something's wrong. Doesn't matter where it is, your gut instinct tells you when there's something wrong about a person you're interacting with. Now, when I asked her about, because I wanted to talk about those girls in Puerto Rico, in 1 week, 4 girls dead. Now, that's not just murder. That's something more than murder. And how is it that these girls didn't fight back? How did they let their guards down? Because these are Black girls, so I know that the majority of them, Black or Latino, they grew up fighting. And yet, still to this day, you have very few of these culprits caught. Now, you know, New York City saw a rash of trans murders for a while there. You know that.
Exactly.
And you know, I have lots of friends there, Miss Hedda Lettuce and Candace Kane, and a few other the girls that live there. I used to hang out with all the time. And I try to talk to them, and you know, the girls don't want to talk about the murders, but we need to talk about what's happening and why is it that the murders generally are by Black men. What do you think the problem is? Most of the Black trans women have been murdered by Black trans men and young men. They say between the ages of 16 and 35.
Because I'm going to say it's really mental on both parts. That's why I said everything in my life, I never experienced nothing like that till I got to New York. I had an incident when I came to New York, and I'll tell you about it in a minute. But my gay mother, before my mother now, who's Darrenisha Duncan, who's a beautiful trans woman who have opened up doors. She got her own outreach. And that's another person you might want to bring on your show to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
But she had her own outreach where she helped trans.
That's amazing. We need that.
Yeah, she's you shared a post on your page. She's a good woman. But before she actually was my mother was killed by a guy that was living with her in her home.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came here, God took me through this situation. My husband had went out of town because he lost his grandmother and auntie due to the corona. So he had to come back to Alabama. I was stuck here. And I was lonely, honey. And my flesh started talking to me, honey. And truth be told, girl, when you in horny and when you in your mindsets and in your flesh, honey, all wisdom and knowledge go out the door, honey. Mm-hmm. That's why you have to get control over that. And I went into this guy's house here in New York City, and it was so strange because I didn't recognize him. And he was on these drugs or whatever. He was taking ice. Mm-hmm. And however, we was in the midst of it, and we was good at first, and all of a sudden he just changed real quickly. It was like he became very demonic. Mm-hmm. And he was cussing at me and pushing on me and talking about he was gonna kill me and just going real crazy. Mm-hmm. When I discovered, honey, when I came inside of the door, he had no doorknob. So I was stuck in there.
Oh.
Yes. Literally stuck in there. Ooh. I had to literally call my husband on the phone so he can hear what was going on. He was just cussing, talking about I'll kill you, I'll bite you, beat me in my face. Pushed me down. So finally I prayed, I just like, honey, I'm at this point. If you gonna kill me, nigga, go ahead and just do what you gonna do. Go ahead and kill me. I called the police. Long story short, got out. Mm-hmm. Nothing but the grace of God.
Oh,
lot of my sisters. That's why I've been lately on my platform. I know you got to make your money, but if you gonna make your money, be accountable to somebody. Don't go by yourself. Give somebody your number. Let them know where your location is. Let them know where you're going. I can't tell you how to live your life, girl, but be smart. Have conversation, because you can pick the crazy ones, honey.
Oh yeah.
You can pick the crazy one. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna I don't know your name. You're not gonna send me no picture. Well, we can't meet. Point blank, period. Mm-hmm. And then if we can't have no conversations prior to me coming to wherever you got me to come to meet you, I'm not coming.
Hello. Now, what programs do you take part in New York City? Let's just say if the girls are living in New York City and somebody's watching the program and they don't know how to find people like themselves. What programs do you say they should reach out to? Who do you think they should reach out to?
Trans United is good. Trans with Art for Arts is good. And what I'm getting ready to launch here in New York City, the House of Plenty and the House of Unity is coming together. I can't go too much into detail because here's the thing. Like I said, New York is full of different organizations, but you got to do your research. There's stuff that's happening, and this is the thing I go to deep further. God is taking care of those that have been abandoned and hurt in the LGBT community, if you his. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're still bitter and still mad and still let the devil use you, because the truth of the matter is, in church, you got devils and angels. In the gay community, you got devils and angels. And in the straight community, you got devils and angels. This world is two-sided, but you just make sure what side you're on. Are you on the right side? But
yeah,
it's places, resources.
That's great. Now, it's good that you speak so eloquently. I like the way you speak, and I like the fact that you just say it the way it is, and you're making your point very clear. Now, you know, we've all made mistakes
Mhm.
and we can't fault everybody. But like you said, with the Black Lives Matters now and the pandemic, maybe we are now we're forced to learn. Before we used to say, oh, let's start talking. Now we're forced to talk to each other because
Mhm.
we realize now that we need each other.
Mhm.
And the more, because this virus is something bigger is coming.
Mhm.
And we might not be as prepared as we thought we were.
Mhm.
Because somewhere along the line, the government or just in society itself, we got caught with our pants down. And you can't get them back up fast enough.
Not fast enough, girl.
And, and this pandemic time with people with no jobs, mainly the girls in the industry, you know, the girls who doing the shows, they make their money from the shows, or the bartenders or the waitresses, or just the people in general that's in the service industry from theaters. These people don't have any income. And you live in New York City, one of the most expensive places in the world. And
Mhm.
now Toronto is just more ridiculous.
Mhm.
And but you know, I just want to say, you know, it was fabulous to meet you, um, Mimi, and I'm glad
Okay.
that you're doing okay now because you
Mhm.
made a move from something that was negative in your life to something more positive. You're in a better relationship. You're in a relationship that a lot of the girls don't have. They don't have that man that cares about them or that support system around them, or just the fact that you have a good mind frame that you want better and you want to do better and you want to see the other girls do better, but you also want to remind them of the scars and the hurt that they've done to their own sisters and brothers and people in their community,
Mhm.
because scars go deep.
It does. I'm
And
reading a book now that's very good. I haven't. Well, I'm not reading it yet, but I have access to a book. Um, it's called Okay, you back now. You guys froze up, but it's talk about drama and how trauma, how it holds in the body and how you can get healed from it and the stuff that you got to do to get healed from it. I don't really know the author name by heart, but yeah, I'm aware of that, and it's just my job and my duty to show them. We need some examples now because a lot of people that's got the microphone in their hand, you're not leading by example. You speaking to us. You're telling us. But girl, you're not leading by example.
mm-hmm.
Somebody got to groom themselves. If you got a problem with the White House, how about you be the change the White House?
Mm-hmm.
With my trans sister that's grooming herself to go do politics or to stand up against whoever's going to be in office. Where's that girl? So in this place is I'm going to spread light, not in being a bitter person. Because being bitter, being angry, honey, it's not going to get us nowhere. Before
Mm-hmm.
you start speaking, before you start going out, and trying to, start a movement, make sure you heal enough. Because, like I said, hurting people hurt people. And yes, I do have a good man, but I put him through hell, honey, purity hell. He went through places that he should never ever been to. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
kept his life in jeopardy. And I love him at times because that's not who you're supposed to be with. That's not who you're supposed to live with. But honey, you better seek God for yourself. And that's what he kept telling me. He said, whatever you do, my child, don't stop seeking. God don't care about if you dress like a man. He don't care if you dress like a female. What your heart look like. What that mind do.
You know, sometimes, you know, just like what you just said, you know, it's great that he can accept you for who you are. I was in a relationship for a very long time, over 7 years. You know, the one I had before that one was for 11 years. And And they both were very good to me. It's just that my career was more important to me. And I don't want to hold up people's lives, because of what I want. And I just felt that sometimes when there's a calling, you have to answer that calling, and only you know of that calling. And you've been fighting it your whole life, and you know how and what you want and the way to get it. And I'm not a selfish person, but I can be very direct when it comes to making sure that my voice is heard. And I'm glad that you are doing the nightly confessions because you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
And I want to just say this here. I'm glad I got to meet you, Mimi, and I hope you can connect me with your other friend there from the Resource Center, and the Trans Alliance and all of this stuff. We have to start making our platforms about what matters. And at the end of the day, we can dress it up, but when we undress it is where we need all the help.
Exactly.
From our mental to our transitioning to understanding other people, people understanding us, we understanding the world and where we fit in it. Because not everybody's gonna love us. We understand that. But they need to respect us just like we respect them.
Exactly.
And on that note, Mimi, I just want to say, girl, I take my wig off to you.
Yeah.
You were honest and candid. I mean, for you to admit that you were in jail many times, a lot of the girls, I asked them to talk about these things. They didn't want to talk about them. And when we're brave and we face things head on, is how you win, how you educate, how you help others. And I'm glad I met you.
I'm glad you met me too, and I met you too. You're such a beautiful person, and I would hope that you return the favor. Because not only do I do nightly confessions, but I also do a talk show in the morning time called Kingdom Chat. And that's how, I just go deep into the spiritual world of things, and I would love for you to be my guest. So
I would love to. Just message me and let me know. I would love to come on and we can get it going. I'm all about education and I'm all about helping a system.
Yes.
So, and this is from my heart. I don't want anything in return. I don't need anything. God has blessed me. I'm alive.
You look blessed, girl. You look blessed. You look highly favored.
Thank you, Mama. And now, I'm just going to, in closing, I just want to say this to my audience. I want to thank you guys for joining us here today on the Stephanie Stevens Show. Like I said, I'm Stephanie Stevens, and I was your host for the last 30, 35, 45 minutes, however long it was. And today I had Mimi Long, originally from Alabama, but now resides in New York City, talking about just real life, the church, men, behaviors, the LGBT two-spirit pronoun community, the issues that face us that are coming up, some issues we haven't faced at all, some of the issues that we need to bring more light to. We need to learn how to understand each other a little bit better. We need to learn how to treat each other a little bit better and understand that scars go deep. Now, on that note, we're going to say good night to Mimi Long. Thank you, girls, so much for doing the show. Mimi Zion Long.
I'm honored. Thank you, baby.
Great name. And we will have this conversation again. And to my audience out there, check Mimi out. What days are you on?
I'm on Monday through Friday. Normally I come on just when you see the live feed on the morning time. That's my girl. That's me coming on, honey. And on the evening time, like around 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, that's the nightly confession. And on Friday, we do couple confession with me and my husband.
Okay. And on that note, thank you everybody for joining us here on the Stephanie Stevens Show. Miss Mimi Zion Long, thank you, girl. Have a great weekend. It's Thanksgiving in Canada, so happy Columbus Day in America.
Thank you.
All right. See you later.
See you later, sweetheart.